G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on Rocky River of all places. I'm excited about it. You want to know why? It is because we've got the Byzantines and there are a lot of berries. Of course, for anybody unfamiliar with what that means, we'll get into it in just a little bit. Let's introduce our players first. In the north of the map, in the color yellow, playing as the Malians, we've got Puppy Paw, aka David Kim. And on the south side of the map, in the color orange, playing as the Byzantines, we've got 3DB. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying this Age of Empires 4 content, make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and of course, ring that bell for notifications if that is your thing. I think I've talked about it before. I don't actually have notifications turned on for YouTube. I mean, you must love a creator quite a lot to have notifications turned on. Can you imagine? It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, you're fast asleep, and you've got a brand new notification. It's PewDiePie. He's just uploaded a brand new 6-minute video documenting, I don't know, I don't even know, what does PewDiePie upload? It's been so long since I've watched PewDiePie. Anyway, probably don't ring that notification bell. That's kind of wild. I mean, to be fair, like if you don't have your notifications in a specific way set up so that when you're asleep you don't get them, then, you know, it sounds like a skill issue to me. But you gotta like play it carefully, right? Like you need to make it. Anyway, why are we talking about this? Let's talk a little bit about the Byzantines and about what makes them so strong with berries. Now, the Byzantines have got a special bonus, and that is olive oil. Now, there's a number of ways that you can get olive oil. Number one is you can get those through your olive groves. It gives you a little bit, not a huge amount. Number two is you can get it off things like shoreline fish, which, if I remember correctly, give you a pretty decent amount. It's like 50%. So if you gather up 10 fish, you'll get 5 olive oil. And then the third way that you can get it is through the berries. Now, the most common way that you'll see it is just through the berries with a grand winery thrown down next to it. There's a good amount of olive oil that can be had. However, there is something special about the Byzantines on a map like this, and that is because the berries give so much in comparison to into farms. So what that allows them to do is basically just hover around the map, delay their transition of farms, and at the same time support a transition into mercenaries. They can do a lot with the olive oil. As an example, one of the things that I've seen Crackety do it quite a bit, is instead of using that olive oil to age up and spam mercenaries, what you're going to do is use that olive oil to age up and then sell it so you can go to castle age. Now, it doesn't look like that might be happening here. B is going to be going for a couple of villages out onto stone early on. He's only got the single cistern in, but this is a pretty quick age up. And with 4 villages on the landmark, he can be expecting a pretty decent age up time here. But I'm expecting he'll probably look to transition a few villages out onto this. He's not keeping too many villages, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Puppy Paw, playing as the Malians, this is a civilization that I would pretty much consider solved at this point. Basically, it's a simple state of affairs. The Malian player is going to look to take his second pit mine relatively early, so he'll probably move out over here. He's not going to look to make units unless he scouts his opponent also making units. Have a look at this. What do we got here? A second TC potentially on the cards? Looks like it. This is a lot of villagers moving out. And we'll look to try and get Castle Age very, very quick. Expect to see a lot of cows coming out from him as well. We can see with this early mill, he'll be looking to convert some of that juicy gold that he's got from the pit mine into cows, which will then be converted into food income. So it's a bit of a Ponzi scheme, except with cows and gold and all that good stuff. But indeed, we see the age up coming through now from B a little bit before the 4-minute mark. He's moved out a whole bunch of villagers now onto stone. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to scouting information, Puppy Paw does know a fair bit about what the plan is for B. However, B doesn't really know too much about what the go is for Puppy Paw. And I think that's probably because he just knows what is going to be up, right? Like, you're playing against the Malians. They're not going to open up with a super fast stable and hit you with a sofa warrior timing. It's just not going to happen. So you don't really have to worry too much about that kind of thing. They're going to play their own game. It's almost like you're playing against the Chinese, realistically, when you're playing against the Malians. You know, they're not going to do anything for 10 minutes unless you make them do something, just because they are really playing to their strength there. So now we've got a bit of an interesting divergence here. Both players going for early wheelbarrows, and have a look at this. We're seeing a third cistern beginning to come down for B, which the more cisterns I see him put down, I feel like the more likely he is to go onto one base, because you could play a really powerful fast castle strategy here if you look to go up to, say, 4 or 5 cisterns. And he is keeping these villages stacked on stone for quite a long time. And do note that there are 6 villages here. He has not got a large amount of villages on wood. It's only the 5, barely enough to maintain the infrastructure that he needs, let alone, you know, put down things like production buildings. But we'll check out how Puppy Paw is doing. He does have that double broad axe now starting to come through as well. Expect that second TC to be thrown down on the deer pack as he is beginning to move out in that direction. And I will say, you know, it's funny that I mentioned the fact that this civilization had been solved. You know, people knew what the most optimal way to play the civilization is. Or that, how did I word that? That was a bit weird. People know what the most optimal way to play the civilization is. Yeah, that makes sense. It just sounds a bit weird. It's probably worded weirdly. Yet, still we see him going for the second TC here. And this is kind of weird, right? Because I remember when the Malians initially came out, everybody kind of figured they were like, okay, we're going to do like a second TC opening, and then we're just going to go into a cow boom, and then we'll go Castle Age after that. And what people found is that it was too slow. I remember playing a game, I think I played a game against Demu back in the day, and it went for like 35 minutes. In the end, you know, he managed to beat me because at the end of the day, he's just a much better player than I am. But it felt very, very close when he did that. And I'm fearful of exactly how Puppy Paw will look to play this because there's a lot of upgrades coming through. And if we compare it over to the other side, B is going to be throwing down that second TC. Beautiful little spot that he's got here towards the front of the base. Villagers all idle. He will be able to secure up both of those golds, so it's going to be imperative that he gets it down, but he's going to be scouting that one out. So we do indeed see 2 players both going for the double TC, so not going to be going for those really fast castles, which is something that we've been seeing out from both of this. I'm curious to see exactly how they both look to play it after the second TC, because one of the things I would expect is that they would look to go to Castle Age pretty quickly in this matchup, especially with the Byzantines. You know, the strength really hits in that Castle Age. Timing on this this TC a little bit late, but as you would expect with the cisterns coming down, it's naturally going to take time to get those cisterns up and then throw the TC down. But TCs are actually pretty similar here, especially for a guy who hasn't really scouted that much. I'm impressed that B managed to find out or managed to work that one out. It looks like he's got a lot of villagers here on gold, though. Not going to be selling any olive oil today. We'll be stacking that all up. He's up to 600 olive oil now. Plenty of vills here on gold. Needs to bring them around over to this mining camp. You can see they've got to actually... technically, this is fine. I mean, not really, because you've only got a tiny little bit of surface area, so there is a bit of long-distance mining, but you do want to bring them in, so you can see here they've got, you know, really easy drop-off compared to this one. So it makes sense. Instead of rallying them directly onto the towns, or onto the gold mine, you want to rally them over to this side and then put them on the gold mine. So it's a small little detail, but, you know, those are the things that do start to add up over the course of a game. But having a look at this, now on the south side, is it just me or a game's getting a little bit more passive? You know, this is something that happens, and as players, especially at the top level, work out the meta and understand what it is that's going to be happening, they get more greedy. That's just simply the way it is. At the very beginning of any patch, you're going to see strategies that run around a single TC play be very effective. And that is just simply because people don't really know. Whereas with the 2TC, it's something that can be punished quite easily, and you need to work out exactly what you can get away with before you can commit to something like that. So it takes quite a while, but, you know, I think everybody's gotten pretty comfortable with this meta at the moment, where they've said, you know what, I can get away with that second TC, and I find that quite interesting, because as I mentioned before, even here with the Malians, like, this has been studied, documented quite well. You know, if a Malian player is looking to go Castle Age right now, it is very difficult to deal with because you're about to see a whole bunch of units that come out. And yet, still we see Puppy Paw only going for that 2 pit mine opening into the 2 town centers and then a whole bunch of cows behind it. I'm fearful that this might be too slow. Even against the Byzantines, I'm fearful this might be too slow because the Byzantines, while they might look a little bit on the slow side, you got to remember that they come out like they come out like a freight train in the Castle Age. There's a lot going for them, especially if they get a nice longbow mass happening, and that's exactly what we start to see happening here. Now remember that when it comes to your options for the mercenaries, there were 3 ways that Puppy Paw, or rather that B could have gone, and he elects to go for the longbows, and people might think that that's counterintuitive, that you're playing up against javelin throwers, and javelin throwers are going to be really good against the longbows, and that's true. However, that's only for the early game. Once the mid game hits, and once you start talking about, say, 40, 50 longbows, it doesn't really matter how many javelin throwers you make, because you're just going to be getting such great return on those longbows. But We now start to see the age up coming through for both players within seconds of each other. You can see just how much the meta has developed to the point where players are so comfortable. There's no scouting that's going on. We saw earlier a little bit of a scout block, but neither player really interested in spotting out what the other is doing. You can see B's just chilling out in his base at the moment. There could be an entire army marching towards him right now, and he would feel comfortable because he knows his limits playing as the Byzantines. And I'm excited to see exactly what he's going to have in store for us, whether this is going to be a full Imperial Age game or whether he's just going to look to try and play it out in the Castle Age, because as we do know, the Byzantines really reach that power spike once they hit the Imperial Age. Castle Age is through though now for Puppy Paw. Adding in that last cattle ranch, you'll look to have 18 cows in total around here. It's the most common thing that we see. And then you'll have 2 cows just rallied in underneath the town center on repeat. Is just helping out, giving you a little bit of extra food income, because it is quite a nice bit of income that you get. Veterancy now starting to come through for a number of units. We see it is going to be the archers that he opts for here. Age up comes through now as well on the other side of the map with B looking to get up to that Castle Age, throwing down the barracks. Does he move into spears together with the longbows, or in this case, Lametini? Does he move into Lametini with the longbows together, maybe mixing in a couple of crossbows? That's always a nice combo. Or does he go for something like Varangian Guard? Now, we know that Varangian Guard in the Imperial Age are pretty damn good, but in the Castle Age, I feel like they could probably use a little bit more oomph. Because it just, I don't know, every time I play with Varangian Guards, I just feel like I get absolutely destroyed as the Byzantines. So to be fair, it's been a while since I played the Byzantines. You know, we started out as a Byzantine main, and very quickly we were like, you know what, 41% win rate's okay, but it's not for me. It's not for me. You know, some people, they're happy with it. Not this guy. I prefer to be on the higher side of things. Anyway, we'll ride on board with Puppy Paw and see how he is doing as the toll outpost has been thrown down in the front. He's got the... There's a really long range. Oh, no, it's because there's units over here. It's like, it's downhill, and it's just really far, and then there were a couple of units. Looks like relics are now going to be on the way. Both players looking to pick them up, and you can see the Imam will get denied off this central relic. At the same time, towards that top side, the Monk going to be moving, looking to pick up these centrally contested relics. First one up towards that top side, and you can see there's another one over on the side of B as well. Could manage to steal this one out. Have a look at B. Doesn't really seem aware that his opponent might be going for a bit of a flex here and moving. Now, keep in mind, there is that safe relic that he's got in his base. Both players have got access to a safe relic, but neither of them going to be going for the safe relic route. Instead, going to be looking for those challenged, those contested relics in the center. And Longbow's just holding for the moment. That'll give B a couple of options when it comes to the units. Whether he continues to go into Longbows or whether it accidentally mixes him into Landsknechte. We'll have a look and see. Where is his mercenary house? It's down here. He's had a fair bit of mercenaries coming out early on. I'm actually really impressed with this. And have a look at the amount of olive oil he's got here. If we have a look at the income per minute, he's still sitting on 134 a minute, which is really quite nice. This is basically a free army. That's the best way to think of it. Like, this is a free army. Now, of course, he's had to be on the berries. And, you know, it's never fun being on the berries, but there are many civilizations that do look to take the berries early. Normally they've got berry bonuses, right? Like, you think of the Japanese, the Chinese might not be one considered to have a berry bonus, but you know what they do have? They have a gather rate increase bonus, so the berries definitely are quite attractive for them. Juicy Legacy, of course. I guess they kind of transition into farms a fair bit afterwards, but we've definitely got that build up beginning to start. Both players massing up units. 14 minutes into this game, we'll switch it over to the income. Both players opening with that 2TC and just looking to really get themselves set up, and then you know what it's like. I feel like we're playing ourselves a no-rush game here. How good were no-rush games, man? I talk about it all the time, but man, no-rush games just hit differently. Which anecdote would you guys like about no-rush games? I can give you one from the OG days of like my very first RTS, or I can give you a bit more of a recent one. This is where I wish I had you guys live. We could do a bit of a coin flip. All right, I'll give you the OG one. The OG one. So there was a map in my very first RTS game. It was called Total Annihilation. And it was called The Pass. That was the name of the map. The map is called The Pass. And basically, you had two halves of the map like this. One half over here, one half over there. And what would happen was there was a big winding mountain range through the middle, and there was a pathway that you could block. And if you wanted to send units to the enemy base, you had to go through this winding mountain range to get there. There was only one way through. That was it. You could only be attacked from one way, and you could only attack from one way. And, oh, man, I love that map because it kind of bugged out the AI on that map. because always, you know, you'd play against the AI, even the easy AI for me back as a 7-year-old would absolutely roll over the top of me. So I'd go straight in, be like, all right, total annihilation. The pass is what the map I'm going to play, and I'm just going to straight away put some laser turrets down in the pass, and it was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. That was my you know, 45-hour no rush strategy that was coming out. Interesting position from this monk here, coming up towards the top side. Not going to be particularly successful with this attempt at a non-existent relic, by the way. In the end, it's going to be 3 relics in favor of B. He managed to pick up this one to the south, this one to the north, and of course his safe relic, compared to Puppy Paw, who very easily could have lost this 4th relic in the middle as well. Did manage to snag this one as well as his own safe relic. So there you go, but look at this, 15, 16 minutes into the game, neither player at all looking to really commit. It is just, you know, we are really having a no-rush game right now. Have a look at the incomes. We've got 3,500, 42, 4,300, 4,400 for Puppy Paw, compared to his opponent, who sits on, what are we sitting at, 25, 35, yeah, about 3,500. We'll give him about 3,500 all up. Oh, actually, no, let's make it 4,000, because he's got a whole bunch of olive oil coming through for him as well. That is something to consider, not to mention the fact that these Grand Winery Grand Winery relics are giving him a whole bunch of olive oil, which he can then turn into more longbows. That's the play, but he's actually opting for Lance Connect. Oh my god, I completely apologize, missing the fight. After waiting this long, they finally decide to fight when Drongo's not looking at him. He shouldn't have fallen asleep at the keyboard, Drongo, but just like that, things begin to turn for the worse for both of these players. Plenty of Lamentinite on the front. Have a look at this. They're actually making their way over towards the production. Might be a good decision, but could be a bit of a bad one. Have a look at how much Sofa Warrior, or how many Sofa Warrior are in here right now. Longbow still teeing off on the backside. Indeed, those Lamentinite definitely need to be towards the front, and he gets surrounded from the back. Lamentinite looking to chase him with a couple of Varangian Guard, and now B is going to be on the defensive. Early on in this Castle Age play, we do start to see the Malian player really getting explosive here. Lanch Connector beginning to move up, provide a little bit of a wall for their opponents, but there are more infantry units beginning to make their way towards the front. The longbow numbers have really been hit, and remember, that's the most important thing that you want to hit. In this matchup, you want to try and take those longbows out. Even just 5 to 10 javelin, just dedicated to hitting this backline constantly, is really, really nice. You can see that he's having a bit of trouble, though. Forced away from this front. And the Lamentinite yet to raise their shields up just yet, but they are very tanky, boys. I got to apologize to you guys once again. I can't believe I missed that. That is unfortunate. I was too busy. I was focused. Well, I was oh, look at the Grand Winery. Oh, 239 olive oil limit. Drongo, come on, mate. This isn't the small leagues. This is the big leagues. Both of these guys are Conqueror 3 plus. They're both 2,200. Like, these two guys are both within the top 10. I can tell you that much. And that's including the Smurf accounts. I would put both of these guys in my top 5. And there's a problem, though. My top 5, as you guys will know, I'm not the best at counting. There's a lot of people in my top 5, like Beastie, Marine Lord, Vortex, Lucifron. That's already 4. I can't fit these guys in. Okay, my top 6. All right, Varangian Guard beginning to make their way to the front. You can see that they're starting to build up here, but do note that that poison arrow is going to start helping out. No +2 ranged attack just yet from Puppy Paw. A little bit of an oversight in that regard. And now starting to push up, Puppy Paw falling onto the back foot. You can see that the Varangian Guard might be what is doing it, but no, it's not going to be the Varangian Guard. It's going to be the Lamentinite. Look at the Lamentinite. Just see how many poison arrows were stacked on top of the poor guy. He wasn't having a good day. We can say that much. He was dealing with all sorts of harm back there. Have a look at the Olive Grove economy, though. It is starting to really build back home here for B. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, the longbow mass is continuing to strive. He's up to 18 longbows. A little bit of a raid back home. It's going to be 7 Sofa Warrior looking to try and distract out B. Expect him to rally over some Lamentinite there to deal with that. But the numbers still looking really good. And have a look at B and the resources that he spent compared to David Kimp, aka Puppy Paw. Puppy Paw looks like he wants to go Imperial. But it's so dangerous if he does this. If Puppy Paw goes Imperial here, this could be really bad. It feels like he's on the ledge right now, and B's about to push him off. The Mangonel is out. It's going to help against this longbow mass on the backside, as long as he can make sure it's pointing in the right direction. Fort of the Huntress is meant to be going up. It gets cancelled away. Puppy Paw realizing that it might be a mistake, or maybe that it's just the units managing to convince him. The Lance Connect very quickly would have made short work of that. All the longbows. Where did the longbows go? They've moved around a little bit, jostling over towards this east side. But definitely feels like Puppy Paw may have made the wrong decision here, focusing a little bit too much on technology and not on units. One of the keys in this matchup is you just need to keep your tempo up, and clearly he has made a mistake here, failed with regard to the tempo because he is under a lot of pressure. Relics are at the front of the base as well. Keep in mind, Mango does go down. Second Mango probably going to go down as well. You can see it trying its best with that alien technology to escape. No wheels on this, no method of propulsion at all. Speaking of aliens, are you guys ready? We haven't talked much about it for 2024, but man, it's going to be the year of the alien. You know, they talk about like the year of the duck, the year of the goose, year of the fox. No, it's the year of the year of the alien. That is for sure. All right, well, more units continuing to funnel in here. B, overwhelming his opponent by quite a bit. Have a look at this difference in military right now. You can see just how significant this force has become. This is a real problem, and he's just going to continue rallying. Nice little strategy back here with the longbows, getting the palings out, you know, just in case. Definitely the right call, right? Mango shot. That was a beauty of a mango shot. I think it got him right on the edge. And now in this situation, I mean, where does Puppy Paw go from here? I feel like one of the big things for Puppy Paw would be looking to get down outposts and getting sprinkled in placements here, because it feels like you're trying to fight with your head barely above the water. So getting down an outpost is a really nice way to give yourself a little bit of backup, but it will look like he holds just for the moment. The thing that you've got to be careful of, though, is, how do you call this? Don't push back your opponent and think, okay, this is it, I've got space. You don't have space. Unless you can get that Fort of the Huntress down right now, which you can't, you don't have space. And even then, like, you're really fighting it. Mango shot still coming in pretty decently. Sofa Warriors together on the front line. It's got to be really careful. These Lamentii, is it just me or these Lamentii really strong? Like, he's got the shield wall up, and the shield wall is just absolutely allowing these guys to live so much longer than they should. Like, we clicked. Look at the Lamentii. Look at it. It just took like 14 shots on the back line from veteran archers, and it's just laughing at them like, lol. How much does it reduces 50% of the damage that you take. That's absolutely crazy when you think about it. 50%. These archers are doing 16 damage total. So then reduce that down to 8, and then add the armor in as well, because they've got ranged armor. They've got 2 ranged armor. So you're talking 6 damage that you need. You need 20 archers to one-shot a Lamentii. That is insanity. That is absolutely insane. Gosh, that's ridiculous. These units are meant to be the hard counter. He's got 38 archers, and it feels like it's barely enough to keep himself afloat here. Siege coming out on both sides. We're going to enter into the cinematic mode as B's maxed out on his population. Big mango shots coming down. Exactly what he needs on a nice clump of units there. If he can get this volley off right before all of these units come through. Springles on the back are able to focus them down, though. The number's starting to look good. He's got his own mangonel out as well. He needs to get this keep online. If this keep comes online, it's going to buy him plenty of space. It's going to take time to get rid of this keep. If he needs to, he's going to have to go for trebuchets. The trebuchets, you'll see repairs coming out. And look at the mangoes just getting chased. It's as long as this keep gets up, it's going to be okay. The problem's going to be the mangonel. The mangonel fires down on those villagers. Lamentii now going to start to move in. Big mango shot. He's down to about 6 villagers, 7 villagers if you're lucky. And Lord Doubt smiles down upon that keep tonight. He is in trouble. You can see if he just brought another 4 or 5 villagers, it would have been a different game. But now, all of a sudden, if the keep does not get up, I don't think there's any way he can keep up with the tempo of his opponent. He was investing significantly in this keep coming online. The villagers have been absolutely mauled. Speaking of villagers, what's the villager count? I reckon he's lost close to 20. 33 villagers taken out this game. 127 versus 92, a massive eco difference between these two players right now. And that is going to be powering it. And unfortunately for Puppy Paw, he has to throw away another keep in this game. It is so damn tough for him right now. And have a look behind this. B, not only is he maxed out, but he is starting to push towards enough resources for Imperial Age. Jeez Louise, this is going to get really tough for Puppy Paw. Puppy Paw, before it gets better, 25 minutes into this game, he looks to hold on a little bit longer. How does he get himself back into this, though? It's got to be static defense. I don't think you could keep up with your opponent when you've lost this many units. Now, of course, we know the truth, right? We know the difference in that villager count. And the worst thing is, you can't see how many villagers you've lost in a game. All you know is, oh my god, all of my villagers are dead. And you hover down over the bottom left-hand corner and you're like, oh god, I've got 16 villagers left. You know it's terrible, but you don't know how bad it was because you don't know the high. You don't know, oh, I came from 160 villagers and now I'm here. Look at the archers. Look how little damage that they're doing. Oh my god, the Lamentinai. Oh, he finally dies to 35 archers. Is my math off? Is it just me, or I'm feeling like they're barely killing it, dude. It's like you're playing against men-at-arms. These things are insanity. It's look at the damage that they take here. They are soaking it all the way up. He has to focus them down one by one. He cannot attack move. If he attack moves, he's just not going to kill it. But speaking of killing it, the Mangonel goes down. He's getting pushed back here. And enough resources now in the bank for B to almost click up. He is still pumping non-stop, balls to the walls. Look at the production that he's got back here as well. He's going to have plenty of production, all in the back of the base, nice and safe, guaranteeing that all of those reinforcements have got mobility. If he wants to reinforce those walls, he'll be able to, no matter the side that he's attacked from. And now B takes a little bit of a break to pause. He says, you know what? Drongo's been talking a lot. We'll let him chill out for a bit. Foreign engineering company going to be the choice here for B. Interesting decision to go into foreign engineering company. See, I'm a big fan. I used to be a big fan of foreign engineering company. It made sense to me, right? Because you're getting a landmark that gives free gold. But the reality is you can just play Lamentinai with the other landmark and then just be spamming out longbows in front of them, or rather behind them, and it just feels as good. B actually going to be committing a cardinal sin here. He is going to be pushing while aging up, but I guess he just doesn't want to give his opponent any space. Look at the economy of the Byzantines, by the way. Have a look at this. We are talking 4,400, more than 6,000 resources a minute coming through compared to his opponent, who's barely breaking over that 4.5k mark. So it is a big difference between these two. Of course, there's a villager difference. Actually, I take it back because there's also this as well in play. So you're talking... Oh, he just taps out. He just says, good night, sweet prince, your Imperial Age. I can't be damned to see a man Imperial Age when I'm dealing with this. He's got units in his base and he still can't deal with his opponent going to Imperial Age. It's absolutely ludicrous. It all came down to that keep or even the landmark. Fellas, go check him out. Links in the description. We'll catch you in the next one.